Michael Johnson and I talked about this in housing. We have so many issues. That's this president doesn't. That's another story. Tonight we have a speaker I'm honored to have. He is a member of the Cape May NAACP, and I happen to know the president of NAACP, a very engaged, effective leader, and she told me that he didn't just become a member to run for office, that he has been a member for a while, that he's one of the founders of the Harriet Tubman Museum. Mr. Goodman, we have to get a trip to take the young people down here to see this museum. He said, Mr. President, can I come to speak to the Atlantic City NAACP because I am an NAACP member of long-standing, and I have the same values that the NAACP has for social justice and civil rights. And I said, Zack, as you know, the NAACP does not endorse candidates. And we do encourage people to be engaged. We do encourage people to register. We do encourage people to vote. And as you know, for the primary, when we had our candidates night at Asbury, he was there. So he is here tonight to present to us. And let me just announce this too. We talked about how there has been a hacking of water. The director talked about that in Cape May. Tonight we just appointed, I thank the executive committee, we appointed a person to head up a technology committee. Her name is Ashley Galpechi. She is a credential engineer. So what we want to do in this branch is to get on top of technology to make sure that we understand what it is, and more than that, and again, I wish I didn't have to report that before we get too far down the line in AI, that we speak to the disparities and the racism that is in AI and facial recognition and all that. I've had this conversation for a while. So, without further ado, a gentleman who is not only an NAACP member, someone who leads development, a city mayor, and running for Congress, Zack Mullock.
Thank you, Mr. President. And you know, one thing you learn when you're going all around all of South Jersey, one, you learn how big South Jersey really is, but you do get to see some of those same faces. Y'all are starting to see me a lot more now, but you get to see all the people who are truly connected to their communities, and you see who truly cares about their community. And your president is certainly one of those people that I see at every event I come to in Atlantic County, and you know that he truly cares about his community. So I thank you, Mr. President, for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try to be not too political as we get up here, but you know that is difficult during these times. And I do want to recognize some of the elected officials we have in here. Councilman Bailey, Councilwoman Bailey. Where's Councilwoman Bailey? I'm sorry. Councilwoman, thank you very much. Assemblywoman Rowan, thank you. As always, you are at everything. And again, another elected official that's at everything. And Councilman Sewell, thank you so much. Am I missing anybody? Marshall, thank you very much. Thank you. And really, thank you for everything that you do for your community. We would not be able to do it without you. We're standing here at Atlantic Cape Community College. I am a proud a member of the foundation board. I've been on the Atlantic Cape Community College Foundation Board for over 10 years. And I want to start with that for just a moment and talk about funding for our local community colleges. And as you know, this is so important to give people the opportunity to have that American dream, right? And it starts so often with education. And education needs to be fair. It needs to be equitable to give people the real opportunity. And the truth is, and you can ask anyone at any of the community colleges right now, funding is going down. And it is a problem for especially places like Atlantic Cape Community College. So I will tell you, in Congress, I will be fighting to make sure that that funding goes back to our local community colleges. I think that's evidenced by the fact that I've been a major supporter of our community college here in Atlantic City for many years, and will continue to be so in Congress. I want to tell you just a little bit about myself, and then really I want to hear from you. Can I hear from everybody? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
So,
except good.
Okay.
That's a joke.
I want to tell you how I began this campaign, because I've said this before, but I love being mayor of my hometown. I love it. I love helping out my community, and I truly feel like I can make a difference on a daily basis. I think if you talk to most Congress people right now, they wouldn't say that. And I know that. But I can't stand the direction of our country right now. And I won't go into too much detail on that, but I'll tell you how it started. It started in Mr. Van Drew's office. We had a conversation about a Cape May issue, and we had that conversation. And it frankly did not go well. But what it said to me is, I can't believe that this is how our country is operating right now. And I'll tell you, on that same day, I was coming home, and that was the day that in Philadelphia, they were taking down the billboards on the history of slavery on Independence Mall. And I have 3 kids growing up, 12, 10, and 8 years old, 12, 10, and 8 years old. Growing up in a country now that is learning less about our history than I did as a child. And I think of that and think, we can't stand by for that. And as I was driving home from DC and I was hearing these news reports, I was thinking, I know a representative who would have said something in the past, but they said nothing about it. And what bothered me so much about that, to me, is not a Republican, Democrat thing that so many of us have argued about over the years, whether it be funding for this or that. To me, that is a moral issue, and you have a moral obligation to stand up when something is wrong. And so that is really what started my campaign when I decided, okay, I'm getting in this race. And I'll tell you, in Cape May, where I'm mayor, we had a wonderful Black history that was truly being forgotten. And I'll tell you some of the buildings really quickly. I won't go into big detail, but several of the buildings were scheduled to be demolished as I started to run for mayor. And I was pointing out the history of some of these buildings, one of which was the parsonage to the Macedonia Baptist Church, which was literally on the Underground Railroad. William Still, who's the father of the Underground Railroad and wrote the book, The Underground Railroad, came through Cape May and was, we believe, in this building. Across the street was the Stephen Smith house. Stephen Smith was the richest Black man in America during that time. He used his wealth to help the Underground Railroad and help enslaved people get across to freedom. Both of those buildings were endangered to be demolished. We turned the one into the Harriet Tubman Museum, which took years of work, but kept that history that was soon to be lost. And for many people in Cape May, they literally didn't even realize that Harriet Tubman lived in Cape May. So that was such an important history to preserve. And now I hope we'll be bringing a group, but I got to tell you, when you have a group of young people that come in and learn about that history, it is inspiring to young people to think that they have this ancestry that they know they too can be, especially young girls. Go see the Harriet Tubman Museum. The AME Church, which is literally right there as well. The AME Church, we had a fire there, unfortunately. It was due to be demolished. We now turned that into a public theater. And it's a community center that people can go to. But I just want to tell you really quickly, that was due to be demolished. And here's some of its history. Jarena Lee. If you don't know the name, look up Jarena Lee. She is one of the heroes of South Jersey. African-American preacher, first African-American who preached in the AME Church, female, and the first female autobiography from a Black lady in the United States is Jarena Lee, and it is wonderful. Then Albert Tinley. Look up Albert Tinley. He wrote We Shall Overcome, right? And he's recognized as the grandfather of gospel music. He was a preacher at the AME Church. So all of that stuff was due to be lost in demolition. And now it's, I would call it one of our most traveled areas, and people come to see it on a daily basis, and it's truly inspiring and beautiful. Last one is the Franklin Street School, which was a segregated school in our history. And we opened that with actually, this is pretty incredible, we started that construction with several former students of the Franklin Street School who actually hit the first bricks of a wall that used to divide the African American students from the white students. And I thought that was extremely powerful. Now that's Emily Dempsey, if anyone knows the Dempsey family down in Cape May County. And she was like a mother to so many people in Cape May County. And I think that was just so wonderful. But really quickly, going on to some of the national issues that all of you are experiencing and know. And one of them I just want to speak about specifically, and you all know about the redistricting that's gone down in the South specifically. And we all know why that redistricting is taking place. It's disenfranchising, and we know that. And I find it to be so incredibly insulting that we as a country are moving in that direction. And we just cannot stand by and watch that happen without taking our own action. And yes, that's why I think we have to look at redistricting up here in New Jersey, which I think is insane because I hate that. But to think that this is happening in our country now is so sad. And we need leaders who are going to stand up to it. And that is something that I would 100% be standing up to. I just want to talk a couple quick ones too. Just generally, we all feel it in the economy right now. Gas and groceries are affecting everybody. And the representative that we have today is doing nothing about it. In fact, he's voting for the war in Iran. And we began a little bit about our water department, just so you all know this. Our water department had a cybersecurity hack, we believe, from Iran, which that didn't happen until we went to war with Iran. And now we're spending billions and billions of dollars there instead of spending it here at home on infrastructure, on water departments, on cybersecurity. You know, before we went to the war in Iran, we as a country voted to cut cybersecurity. The person I spoke to in cybersecurity that helped us said that his department was cut by 2/3. 2/3. And then we went to war with a country known for cyber hacking. So I just look at this and I think, look, this is an attack on our home front, on our water here. And it's happening all across our country. And it's obviously saying that this is not safe. And so we have to have leaders who are going to keep us safe, to spend that money, those billions of dollars, here in Atlantic City, here in South Jersey. And we all know we could use the money. Assemblywoman, I know we talk about budgeting every day. And to think that billions of dollars are being spent in a foreign country, and yet we're making cuts to SNAP. We're making cuts to Medicare and Medicaid. You know, and last thing I'll say before I open it up for questions, if that's okay, President. You know, there's 178,000 people in CD2 on Medicaid. 82,000 kids. And that is what they're cutting. And why are they cutting it? To give tax breaks to the ultra wealthy. And so I just find that to be completely insane. That is why we need to make changes in Congress, and that's why I'm running. So thank you so much for having me, and I'd be happy to take any of your questions.
Before we go to questions, let me just say this.